Hey class, so what you're looking at here is an article that I got from the Oregon State University Library called Gender Role Portrayal in the Disney Princesses. It was written by Dawn England, Laura Descartes, and Melissa Collier-Meek. So on our quest to define Disney love, we must first figure out who is falling in love. What are their characteristics? What makes these two people who they are? So this study kind of helps us answer that. The researchers looked at 9 Disney princess films that incorporated over 25,000 marketable products to find the gender role descriptions of the prince and princess characters in the movies. The results of their study showed that princes and princesses differ in their portrayal of traditionally masculine and feminine characteristics. So we're going to scroll down and we're going to look at what happened in this study. The 9 films that were analyzed came from 3 different points in time. We have the 1930s through 1950s, the earlier films, which included Snow White, Cinderella, and Sleeping Beauty. Then we have the middle films from the 80s to the 90s that included The Little Mermaid, Beauty and the Beast, Aladdin, Pocahontas, and Mulan. And then they included a princess movie from the 2000s, which was The Princess and the Frog. Okay, so the researchers defined what were masculine characteristics and what were feminine characteristics. And see those right here. So if a character was curious about a princess, that is going to be considered a masculine characteristic. Okay, if they were physically strong, if they were hitting or moving something, that's going to be masculine. More feminine characteristics that they've defined here are, things like they tend to their physical appearance, they're affectionate, they're nurturing, they're sensitive. So these are gender stereotypes, and these are our characteristics that they're going to be looking for when they did their research on the 9 movies. So we're going to skip ahead and check out the results. So they looked at the masculine characteristics for both the princes and the princesses. So the top 5 of the princes, what they display for masculine characteristics are they're physically strong, they're assertive, they're athletic, they show curiosity towards the princess, and they're unemotional. Okay. Oh, and our princesses, the masculine characteristics that they display are they are assertive, they're athletic, they're brave, and they're independent. And they want to explore. So when we go and we look at the feminine characteristics, it's a little different. The princes showed emotion 15.3% of the time. They were affectionate in a feminine way. And that's another thing. They showed emotion in a more feminine way. They were affectionate 10.8% of the time. They were fearful. They were physically weak sometimes. So they did incorporate some feminine characteristics into the princes, just like they incorporated some masculine characteristics into the princesses. But our princesses, what I found interesting was the top 5 female gender characteristics that the princesses were found to have. Of course, 16.7% of the time they were seen to be affectionate. They were also seen to be fearful and troublesome. They tended to their physical appearance, and they were helpful. These are the things that the princesses do that make them women. I kind of find that a little sexist, but that's what they do. And in the same note, the men, what makes them men is, of course, their top attribute, their top masculine attribute, which was, sorry, that is my phone going off, was that they are physically strong. So there's a lot of gender stereotypes that are being reinforced by these characteristics. Okay, now we're going to scroll down here, because I'd like to also point out one thing that I found here that really reinforces this presentation's purpose. We're talking about Disney love. So what this research project actually showed about love is that the princess always won the love of the prince by the end of the Disney princess films. And this portrayal of romance provides a strongly gendered message. The child viewer is provided with consistent exposure to the social script that one falls in love either very quickly at first sight, like we saw in week 1 with Snow White and Sleeping Beauty, against all odds in Beauty and the Beast and Mulan, and The Princess and the Frog, or both, which happens in Cinderella, The Little Mermaid, Aladdin, and Pocahontas. So this is what we're showing our children. Now, these are the 3 ways that love happens. You're going to fall in love all of the sudden, or against all odds, or maybe both. That's it. That's how love happens. And I'm not sure about you, but I don't think love in my life has ever happened like that. So, I don't know. Also, I want to go in here and read a little bit about their conclusion of this study. The study demonstrates that there are both stereotypical and non-stereotypical gender role portrayals in the Disney princess movies. The gendered messages did not consistently move away from traditional themes in more recent movies. So, just because they're no longer scrubbing the floors like they were in Cinderella and cleaning and whistling while they work in Snow White, there's still gendered messages that are being labeled and being characterized for the princesses and for the princes. So, both the male and the female roles changed over time, but overall the male characters evinced less change than the female characters, and were more androgynous throughout. So they did incorporate more feminine and male characteristics than the women did, which I found to be kind of an interesting result. But anyways, this is just a really interesting article, and now we know who our 2 figures are, who's falling in love. We've got Mr. Masculine, who also has some feminine characteristics, and then we have the little soft, dainty woman, who... Scroll back up one more time. Our princess, who's affectionate, fearful, troublesome, and tends to her appearance while being helpful. So those are our people. So we'll remember that whenever we look at the next part of the presentation.